Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Amit, and I welcome you on behalf of Informa Markets. Today, we have a very important topic at discussion, mainstreaming, mainstreaming TOPCon technology adoption in India, an expert's perspective. The webinar is powered by MV Solar. We will start the webinar with a presentation by Mr. 𝗍𝗲𝗼𝗀, Chief Operating Officer, MV Group, followed by a panel discussion with our esteemed panelists in Dr. Helge Heverkamp, CTO, Centrotherm International, Dr. Jochen Wench, Head of Technology Transfer Division, Photovoltaics, Fraunhofer Institute of Solar Energy Systems, Mr. 𝗠𝗶𝗺 𝗀𝗧𝗍𝗲𝗰𝗵, Head of Contracts and Procurement, Solar and Energy Storage, Blue Pine Energy, an Actis Group company, Dr. 𝗘𝗍𝗫𝗀𝗃 𝗀𝗍𝗪, PV Consultant, Mr. Suhas Donti, President and CEO, MV Group. The panel will be moderated by a senior industry leader, Mr. 𝗠𝗶𝗫𝗀𝗃. I request our audience to use the Q&A tab to post your questions. You may mark the questions to a particular panelist. Without further ado, I invite Mr. 𝗍𝗲𝗼𝗀, Chief Operating Officer, MV Group, for his presentation.
Good evening, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be here on this fora and exchanging ideas on the mainstreaming of TOPCon. As Amit mentioned, so I'll begin with my presentation. Yeah, just a moment. So this is a presentation about MV Photovoltaic Power Private Limited, and MV it goes back to MV has completed 30 years of has been in existence for more than 30 years, starting way back in 1992. And that itself is a differentiator, surviving and growing in solar manufacturing space, which itself is which is a very challenging segment. And we have a history of innovation, and we have always been innovating and meeting customer requirements and rapidly evolving in a rapidly evolving space. Today, as we speak, MV has 3 GW of world-class solar PV module production capacity, which is up and running, and there is 1.5 GW of TOPCon cell manufacturing, which is in advanced stages of construction, and it's going to get commissioned in next few months. We are headquartered in Bangalore, but we have an office in Berlin, and also we have a team in United States. As I mentioned, we have a long history of evolution and of capacity increase and product upgradations. And today, as we are in 2024, so we are one of the first players in Indian market who have commenced manufacture of TOPCon cells as a matter of TOPCon modules, and TOPCon cell commissioning will happen in next few months. The BIS for TOPCon modules has already been achieved. Even the IEC is already there, and so we are one of the front runners offering our customers the latest value and technology. We have the core of MV is solar module manufacturing, which I just explained. Though earlier we have been in EPC and also as a project developer, and we also have premium solar water heaters, but the core is solar PV module manufacturing. 𝗬𝗃's vision is all about sustainability, and it's about energy independence, which is based on innovation and offering cost-effective premium solar products. And our mission is relentless execution and pursuit of new age technology and offer the latest product range in an environment-friendly manner. The pictures that you are seeing are the pictures of two module manufacturing facilities, one at 𝗂𝗏𝗺 and right, very close to airport, and both facilities are near Bangalore only. We have a footprint right across the globe, and our supplies are in Europe, are in North America, in India, of course. So we have experience of having deployed PV modules in diverse geographies all across the world, all across the globe, in different environmental conditions, and we have very good credentials and actual field performance. So we have today, in 2024, if we look at this graph, 3 gigawatt of module capacity up and running, and 1.5 gigawatt, which is TOPCon cell, which is going to get commissioned in next few months. And next year, we have plans of setting up another 1.5 gigawatt in United States. 𝗬𝗃 has won global recognition. 𝗬𝗃 has been declared as a top performer on various metrics by PVEL, and various metrics like PID, LID, and other metrics. We are topping, we are just there as a top performer. These are a few pics of our manufacturing facility. And as I mentioned, every modules, practically we have a history of deployment for more than 15, 16 years with excellent performance on the field. 𝗬𝗃 has one of the lowest warranty claim ratios, which is a measure of the high quality the product has from its inception. Now I come to the solar cell line, which is under construction, and it is in this 1.5 gigawatt TOPCon cells, we have a technology partner, Fraunhofer is there, and we have opted for Centrotherm as the main cell processing line, and we have a fully automatic, we envisage a fully automatic and highly efficient and reliable cell manufacturing process that we have opted for. Getting briefly into basics, if we look at what is a semiconductor is something that is there between an insulator and a conductor, and semiconductors are materials which we all know have electrical conductivity value falling between a conductor and an insulator. Carbon, germanium, silicon being a few examples of the semiconductor. And PV cells is a large semiconductor itself. And again, semiconductors, we have intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductors. And in extrinsic semiconductors, we have N-type and P-type, the two fundamental types of semiconductors. And N-type has pentavalent impurity, such as phosphorus, and P-type has trivalent impurity, such as boron. And where this, if we look at the overall, there are the technologies in the solar PV, the whole universe. So thin film is on one side, silicon PV on other side. And in monocrystalline, we have monoPERC, which can be both monofacial and bifacial, P-type, and then N-type, we have TOPCon. So that is where in the mosaic of technology it comes in. And, the P-type and N-type implies that basically the wafer is different. P-type is positively charged and N-type is negatively charged. Moreover, in case of base layer, the N-type is doped with phosphorus, and whereas in case of P-type, the doping is done with boron, which has 1 electron less than silicon. So these are some fundamental differences, and we will see as we move ahead, the various implications of N-type. There are a host of advantages which are there. For example, the efficiency is higher in terms of N-type. It is because it has fewer defects. It captures more photons. The conversion of these photons into electricity is more efficient. The open circuit voltage is higher. It is less sensitive to temperature, and it operates well at higher temperature. Therefore, in N-type, we have more reliability. We have less degradation. But of course, because the cell is subject to more processing, it's more expensive. And tunnel oxide passivated contact cells, as we use that term for the TOPCon, it refers to the basic structure which is shown in this diagrammatically. There's an additional tunneling layer and also a poly layer which comes in, which is not there in normal type of monoperc cell. And the purpose of this tunneling layer, which is shown here in maroon, is that it provides tunneling. It provides tunneling so that the electrons pass through without recombining with holes. Whereas the polysilicon layer acts as a selective contact that reduces contact resistance, enhancing conductivity of solar cell. So the other things we have like Sinex AR, silicon nitride, anti-reflective coating and passivation and other things are a part of any cell. But the additional thing in TOPCon is that you have this tunneling layer and poly for the to provide these advantages. And these points, as I mentioned previously, so a host of advantages come like low light performance and higher efficiency and lower degradation with use of this type of architecture of the cell. ENVY today has both P-type and N-type modules for its customers. These are monofacial, bifacial, TOPCon, and these are available in watt peak, nominal watt peak ratings from 540 to 550 watt peak and 565 to 580 watt peak. And we will be offering 600 to 650 in near future. We have a 12 years product warranty and 25-30 years linear warranty, which is a feature of our products. And I think I already referred to this. These are certifications. We have all certifications in place, variety of certifications from ISO to TUV to IEC 3X reliability test certificates, certifications which are country specific. So all these are available with us, and all certifications are in place, including ENVY is listed on ALMM, which is essential for Indian market. So this in brief is what ENVY is about. And ENVY is constantly evolving and staying ahead of the curve to offer its customers higher value and reliability and higher efficiency. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dhar, for the nice presentation. To all our thank you so much once again. And to all our audience, if you would have any more questions and you would require any more information, you could put in your details across onto the Q&A tab and we can get back to you. Now, inviting our panel and our moderator, Mr. 𝗠𝗶H𝗀𝗁, a senior industry leader who has done many top positions in his career. Mr. 𝗠𝗶H𝗀𝗁 sir.
Amit, thanks a lot. A very warm welcome to all of you. A very, very good afternoon. After the excellent presentation of Rohit, detailing not only what the technology is all about, but also an excellent landscape about what the various sections of the solar technology is and what ENVY Solar is doing as a company. We now have to get into the panel discussion mode, which we will carry on for the next half an hour or so, followed by question and answers. The interest on the sun doesn't go away at all. No, it can't, simply because it's the brightest star nearest to us and it is shining all the time. We in the industry have had interest on the sun in India going from the energy perspective, I think for a long, long time, but from photovoltaics energy perspective for the last 24 years plus, since the solar policy got launched. And interestingly, we have a panel here which comprises of the best of the best in the industry, representing manufacturers, as well as equipment providers, research institutes, consulting groups, and investment houses. So without further ado, I would request the panel to have a short introduction, 1 or 2 sentences about who they are and what they represent, and then we will get going on the conversation. So starting first with Mr. Suhas.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh, for the warm welcome, and Informa for organizing this. And I'm very honored to be part of this panel. And so a brief introduction about myself is I'm Suhas 𝗠𝗶hi, the President and CEO of MV Group. As Rohit has given an introduction about the firm being with a history of 30 years of producing high quality, reliable solar products, and been here been through all the cycles of ups and downs. Now I'm here to represent MV as a leading solar module manufacturer and being one of the early adopters of this TOPCon technology.
Thanks a lot, Suhas. Now I request Dr. Johan to introduce a bit about yourself, please.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks also for the intro. And nice to be part of this panel. I'm Jochen Rentsch. I'm heading here at 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗎, the technology transfer department or division. 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗎 is roughly one of the largest institutes worldwide, with about 1,500 people working solely on PV technologies. And within this technology transfer, we are currently active globally in setting up PV production capacity across the value chain, really from ingot up to module manufacturing. And in that way, we are also supporting MV in their efforts to set up the TOPCon production line in Bangalore. And we are very happy to be there within the next couple of weeks and then ongoing in the future.
Look forward to having you in India. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
So Pankaj, over to you, please.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone, all the viewers and the panelists, and thanks for to having me here. I'm Pankaj Tyagi. I'm heading the contracts and procurement in Bluepine. Before that, I'm in the solar domain for last 10 years, and mainly I think I've procured the modules from 240 kilowatts. Now we are doing for 640 or something like that. So I have seen all the various type of the module which is being produced till now.
So Pankaj, on a lighter note, I think Rohit would have seen modules of 60 watts also.
Yeah, I think they are pioneer. At the time there was no as IPP business in this.
Correct, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Dave, over to you, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. 𝗍𝗫𝗀𝗧𝗏 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃. At this moment, I am doing the independent consultancy to the complete solar value chain, starting from polysilicon to the modules. Also supporting the laboratory, giving the consultancy also for the lenders. So that's me. I spent a couple of years prior to that in the industry, like Mozartware, also at the Vikram Solar, and institute like in US series, also at 𝗵𝗡. So working closely here, almost all the module manufacturer, I know their pain. Also, I know the pain from the IPP. So I think it will be a nice discussion today. Thank you very much.
Indeed, you touch every sector of the industry, and I'm sure it will be a valuable contribution. I now invite Helge to introduce himself, please.
Hello, yes. Thank you for the invitation. My name is 𝗍𝗫𝗃𝗃𝗃. I'm the CTO of Centrotherm, representing Centrotherm International. We are a machine builder, delivering, providing equipment to our customers in the PV industry. We specialize in CVD and thermal equipment, also the key equipment that's supplied to ENVY that has chosen us as the main supplier. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Up till the year 2019, polycrystalline silica pretty much ruled the solar industry, as most of us know. 2019 onwards, I guess there was a shift, at least in the Indian context, slowly to start moving towards monocrystalline and with PERC technology. And that went all the way to about 2023, 22, I guess, at which point of time there are now two range of technologies that are emerging, which are going to probably supersede PERC in a way. So TOPCon is one of the leading technologies for that. And of course, there is also the HJT, which is also a contender in that race. So my first question to the panel, and this I request we go through everyone in the panel and have your opinions is, will TOPCon be the dominant technology over the next 1 to 2 years, globally as well as in India? When you compare it with HJT as well as PERC, what are the benefits of TOPCon from a LCOE perspective, as well as from a performance perspective? So I would request, I think most of you do not know it, or probably you do. In the year 2014, it was Fraunhofer Institute that first introduced TOPCon into the world, right? And it's through Fraunhofer that TOPCon came out. So very aptly, as we have a senior research scientist and executive from Fraunhofer with us, I would request Johan to address this question first.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. If you actually very well summarized the development and what we currently see. I mean, directly going to your question is that, of course, let's say TOPCon already, I think within this year, at least on a global level, which is of course dominated by China, will be, let's say, already the mainstream technology. Very well or very fast also pushing, let's say, PERC technology out of the market because, I mean, there is a higher efficiency potential, of course, with TOPCon compared to PERC. PERC is more or less really relatively at the end of its development, efficiency-wise. Still cost-wise, it looks still quite attractive, but due to this massive expansion and let's say being TOPCon as mainstream technology, also costs have been driven down, of course, in the TOPCon part as well. Meaning, even on LCOE level, we see now that it comes on an similar and even lower level with TOPCon technology, and that would be, of course, the first step for a massive deployment. That makes it also different to HJT technology, or where are the differences there? What we see, I mean, for that question. I mean, TOPCon is still, I mean, I would say 80% of the sequence is still in principle similar to PERC. Yeah, so companies which are now, which coming from PERC technology in the past, now switching to TOPCon can still gain a lot, of course, in experience from their former production, and they just need to add really, let's say, the specific TOPCon technology parts. And therefore, the transition, of course, is relatively smooth. Heterojunction means really in quite disruptive process sequence. Slightly shorter sequence, but each process for itself, of course, is an art for itself. Yeah, so it needs to be much more carefully adjusted, and therefore TOPCon is also a bit more robust process in this difference between heterojunction and TOPCon. And last sentence for that, from our point of view, is in production. We also do not see much difference in terms of efficiency potential between heterojunction and TOPCon. So meaning the choice there for an easier and more robust process goes very well in the TOPCon direction.
Thanks a lot, Johan. I would request as a buyer, Pankaj, I'm pretty sure you will be more interested in where the investments are going and how reliable are the investments in the technology where you put your money into. for the projects. So what's your perspective on TOPCon's dominance over the next couple of years and LCOE and other parameters?
So on the TOPCon as a dominance, especially from a perspective in India. So if we have seen the shift which has happened in China on TOPCon, I think it has started like 1.5 years back. So in India is right now going into that phase. We are probably initially we are the first people who have gone to a ordering of a capacities like which is 500 megawatt plus and all on TOPCon. So I would feel even if we see the shift which has happened in India from China to India, still when the HJT will become mainstream in China, we will still take couple of years to kind of a catch up to that technology curve. So I think without we feel that it for 2 years or probably more, the TOPCon should remain a very dominant technology in India. Most of the manufacturers right now shifting from TOPCon to PERC. I think Premier MV is one of the initial movers who would be having their supplies starting from probably in April or May to us. Rest people are lagging behind. So considering the way the manufacturing setup is also coming, if the lot of capex is being incurred, so I would say to amortize and to recover that cost 2-3 years should be a reasonable time to kind of work on the TOPCon, because HJT, the equipments are completely new. You cannot just upgrade these lines and you have to incur up. So parallelly, I think there would be some capacity will start coming on HJT. But yeah, I think for a couple of years, TOPCon will remain as a dominant technology. And as you rightly said, the PERC, the LCOE of TOPCon is better in compared to TOPCon. At least on 3 fronts, which I can see is that one is the energy is better by 2.5%. And then these are better efficient modules. So with the same bill of material on the module side, you have same more wattage of the modules, which reduce the conversion cost from cell to module for TOPCon compared to PERC. And there being the lesser number of the modules per watt per megawatt, so there is a savings on the BUS side also. Not significant, but yes. And if we see the trends of the bids in India, I think industry has already factored in TOPCon. So at least we have factored in, and some of the IPPs we keep on discussing. There is a reduction of 5-6 paisa, which has been seen in last 6 months. We feel that it is quite attributable to the TOPCon technology being a lower degradation, higher efficiency, or saving in the BUS.
Understand. Well, that's really good to know, and it's an endorsement coming from an investor as well behind the technology. Now I'll request Helge to add on to the same question, your perspective on TOPCon's dominance as a main technology, but also from another add-on question specifically to you. I take on from the other 2 responses that came in that TOPCon can be retrofitted atop existing PERC lines by changing some machinery and some sequences. Are you seeing a lot of manufacturers in the Indian context who are trying to switch over to TOPCon? That's also another add-on question to you, Helge.
Okay. Regarding technology, switch from PERC to TOPCon, I think TOPCon is the natural successor to PERC technology. It's dominant in China these days, and it will also become dominant in India, we believe. It has, at this stage, still incurs higher costs, but that may be offset by lower BOS cost and higher yield in the systems. Regarding heterojunction technology, we still believe it's not competitive cost-wise in ground-mounted installations. It may be suitable for some rooftop applications, but TOPCon, we believe, will be the mainstream technology in the years to come. Regarding upgrade of PERC lines, yes, there is the possibility. We have seen projects that have envisioned this, but not yet realized. You can salvage some equipment, but not all of it. Some of the key equipment you really need to replace. So most of the projects have seen PERC line in parallel and then set up additional TOPCon capacity, but we haven't seen any PERC lines in India being converted to TOPCon. In China, the approach is pretty similar. Typical TOPCon capacity is being newly built, but not a retrofit of PERC lines.
That's very interesting to know. Thanks a lot, Helge, on that perspective. As somebody who's been touching various parts of the industry, consulting with investors as well as EPC companies and manufacturers, Dave, what's your view on TOPCon's dominance, vis-a-vis HJT and others, and which one do you pick if it's your buck behind it?
With this today's seminar or webinar, maybe the two-part. One is that mainstreaming TOPCon technology and the adaptation in India. Now, I'm a little bit planning to talk about more technical point of view, why TOPCon will be dominant in the current, not the 2 years, of another 1 decade. Okay, now starting with the wafer. What is the wafer technology we are using? We are using the N-type wafer, and a couple of decades ago, maybe like 1 or 2 years ago, N-type wafer cost was a little bit higher than the P-type. Now, with the introduction of the gallium into the P-type, the ingot processing cost is almost same for the P-type and N-type. Yes, N-type is still a little bit more because it may take a little bit more time. And also the volume is keep on increasing, so that N-type cost of the wafer is now at the par of the P-type. Also, N-type wafer is having a lot of added benefit about the metal impurity others. So one point of things that N-type wafer is the superior than the P-type wafer, and also the price competitive. So that's the one of the biggest advantage for the TOPCon. Now, the moment we talk about the TOPCon technology, like there are the different kind of benefits about that, what the PERC is really missing. What are the benefit? Now we have the higher efficiency. Higher efficiency definitely means the higher generations with a limited number of area, so that your impact on the LCOE and the lower LCOE. And the other benefit is that the lowest degradation rate. This is the one of the important factor. And how is the lowest degradation rate? One need to really understand why the modules are degrade. So there are a couple of phenomena. Modules degrades because of the, not really for the cell, there is one, but the encapsulant on the top of that is one of the crucial role for the module degradations. For the conventional monoPERC and TOPCon, if we use for the glass module, same setup bomb, what is happening for the monoPERC? You are using the EVA on the top and the POE on the rear side to prevent the PID. But in case of a TOPCon, you have to use the POE on the front and EVA is the more conventional way, POE EVA on the back. The moment you are using the POE on the front, then you are really eliminating all kind of degradations like yellowing, corrosions, others, which are the main factors. So this is the another aspect, maybe not 0.4, and the degradation may be much lower. That is one of the things. So because the POE, now EPA is coming, I'm still need to doubt about the EPA, but POE or polyolefin is one of that. They are the acetic acid free. Second thing is that the moment is the efficiency. Like I told you, monoPERC is already achieved their highest efficiency. TOPCon is beginning. 26 plus into the production of 25 still can achieve up to 28. So there is a long way to go. There is a lot of way, also process is there. Like there is a possibility that wafer thickness can be reduced, wafer area like M10 or M12 or this kind of technology still are coming. So engineering is still happening to really reduce the cost. Once we are increasing the efficiency and simultaneously we are also reducing the cost. There are other benefits. There is no LID. no PID, it's very less. And the basic is the temperature coefficients, which is really one of the biggest. And I was really trying to calculate that how the temperature coefficient can really benefit for the productions or generation of the mode. And that is more beneficial if the TOPCon is really installed in the high temperature regions, and one can really get more benefit out of that. Also the low light performance. So saying all these things, I can say that so there is a tremendous potential for the TOPCon, for the technological point of view, adaptations, and as Dr. Jumini is also told, and that it's the TOPCon is really it will be going into the market because there is no other way. And in terms of the HJT, though the HJT process looks very simple, but each process is an art. Art means it's really need to be controlled very, and the production wise TOPCon will be very fast mature into that. So my point is that technical it's supporting, LCO is really down, and technology will be the mainstream and it will be adopted in India. So that's my thought.
Thanks a lot, Dave. That was a very all-out endorsement on multiple fronts. I'll now request Suhas to have the last and the most important word as you're investing behind that as well on this.
Thank you, Santosh. On technical front, I believe all the points are quite strongly put forward with technical experts on the panel, and commercially, as Mr. Ghagi mentioned about being one of the front-run adopters of this technology on the IPP side, of TOPCon being at the forefront of it. I'd like to just touch upon two aspects here. One is on the supply side. We need to understand here, as Dr. Yokin said, that TOPCon lines could be upgraded from the existing PERC lines. Although many might not have done it yet, or many few might have done it, but as a sustainable growth practice, what would anyone look for is upgrading of the lines, and which was very much possible in this technology, as against if you probably look at HAT, where it would involve altogether a new investment. So which I believe on a larger front, with the current economics, be it in China, with the scale causing some certain problems, we see sustainable growth and sustainable existence requires to think of these kind of setups. And so that is why one area why I believe that TOPCon is going to be in a mainstream basis. And secondly, what is important is to acknowledge that TOPCon technology is not going to be limited to what we see right now. Like Fraunhofer have been working on upgradations on this kind of technology to surpass HAT, if not at least to match it, if not surpass it on efficiency. So this is something that we could anticipate in the future that has happened, like how PERC could be upgraded to TOPCon. TOPCon could be upgraded to another technology. So this is basic two reasons why I believe, and what we see already right now with the last quarter of imports that data shows is that already 20% of the PV imports have been imported TOPCon. Like I'm talking on the cell level. So that we're seeing that the adoption of this technology with MV on the forefront of it being at a quite quite there. So I believe that as far as my vision goes, probably with limited experience, is I see TOPCon to be remaining as a mainstream for quite some time.
Thanks a lot, Suhas, for that. So I'll take on from the previous question answers, and I will be making some notes into the next question straight away. So the defining characteristics of TOPCon are seeming to be the following: lower degradation, the first year as well as year on year, better performance in elevated temperature compared to PERC, as well as low light performance seems to be pretty good. I think these are the three key USPs on TOPCon. And although the initial capital cost is higher than PERC on a dollar per watt or a rupee per watt level, because of these three benefits, over a lifetime, the IRRs and the returns are going to be better. That's what we're hearing. So a question I have, taking on from here, actually dovetails more into bankability and also reliability. What happens in the solar industry, as all of us have seen, is whenever there is a change in technology from one platform to another, the investor community and the lending community takes a little bit of time to be convinced about it. We do have climate chamber tests, we do have accelerated tests that we do on the lab scale, but real life data is perhaps the best, I would say, measure. So my question is the following. In terms of convincing the buyer community and the investor community to go into TOPCon, how important is the actual field performance data on all of these three parameters: degradation, low light performance, as well as, let's say, high temperature, low temperature coefficients? So how reliable, how evidenceable is this from theoretical claims to actual? And I'll start again back this time to Johan on this.
Yes, I think the real data for, especially for the bankability and, let's say, to prove that the technology really provides these advantages are really extremely important. I mean, fortunately, of course, we already now have a couple of already reliable data collected over the last years, where TOPCon was implemented in the field, observed already over time, so that we can already get we have accessible data on, let's say, these potential advantages. So we already have throughout, let's say, globally, I mean, on different locations, yeah, you have, let's say, between the 2 and 4%, for example, more energy yield really proven between PERC and TOPCon technology. That definitely, of course, helps, because you're, of course, also totally right. I mean, in terms of bankability and insurance companies in the end, yeah, also, of course, who have to provide who support, let's say, the setup of the large power plants, they are, of course, usually quite hesitant. I just remember, for example, a couple of years back with bifacial technology, which also made, of course, a lot of promises, but of course, many tenders were even not allowing then bifacial technologies because bankability was not yet proven. So in that matter, of course, it goes sometimes a bit slower than expected. But for TOPCon, definitely, of course, we have already a track record of power plants which are operating already for some time, which can demonstrate and prove, of course, the advantages which were just described.
Thanks a lot, Shubhananda. Dave, your perspective on that?
Sorry, I think joint. I think the number Vincent is more conservative, 2 to 4%. There are several reports they are talking about more than 5% in the shorter span of time when they're using the monopark and the TOPCon. There is one thing again. These are all a little bit relative depending upon the bill of material used into the modules. I cannot really just simply compare the monopark and TOPCon, but the bill of material really, mainly the encapsulant. Again, I'm mentioning, they're mentioning several times. The encapsulant is one of the biggest. So, am I is problem with my headphone?
There is a bit of an feedback from your audio. So while you.
So is it okay now?
Yeah, it's much better.
So
we still hear a bit of a feedback. Yeah. So.
Still the encapsulant is really one really need to be very much careful on the selecting of the encapsulant.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the selection of the instrument also very much important when you really compare this kind of performance with the TOPCon and with the monoPERC, because still there is also possibility the degradations under the UV. For that also one really need to be careful, but definitely bankable. And if you really talk about the reliability, this is again depending upon one really need to be a little bit more again. Okay.
Dave, I think we get the context, and we'll give you time to fix the problem. I'll just ask Suhas back again. Yeah, I'll come back to you, Dave. So Suhas, when you decided to invest into the manufacturing line from MV's side, I'm pretty sure you would have looked at this reliability and field performance basis. So what is your take on it? How convincing it is to sell to a customer?
Yeah, absolutely, Santosh. I think that's a very relevant question, and that's a very relevant topic that we need to address about today. It was really important for us to analyze the reliability point of view and also foresee what exactly the market acceptance is going to be with TOPCon. But as Dr. Yupin said, that there have been this is when we reached out to Fraunhofer, we reached out to and to understand what exactly is the quality reliability point of it. And we were quite convinced with the data that does exist on the reliability front of it. It is just that the adoption to manufacturer probably comes a little sooner, because when the investors and when the developers decide to switch for it, it takes time for the manufacturers to set up the process, start working it. So this is where we had to do this in advance a bit. But certainly, even with monoPERC, what we have seen the on-field performance as probably was, everyone had a similar question when we shifted from poly to monoPERC. What has been the on-field performance of this? So I think we're in the similar cycle, but since you mentioned yourself of 2014 being the first year when this technology came into effect, I think there have been tests have been done, on-field data has been collected to show that these performances have been quite satisfactory. And that's what's got us to set up this large facility, putting in 17,700 crores into this particular.
And that's endorsement enough, having spent a lot of capital behind it, shows that you believe. And the same holds good in your case as well, Pankaj. You have purchased around 500 megawatts, you mentioned recently, of the same technology. So how did you go about assessing reliability? What basis did you use?
So there is one advantage of being in a lagging in a technology curve, that the technology is being installed and proven at some part of the world. So there was, I would not say very solid data available, but there was a certain data available. The Chinese market was there, and when the big suppliers, which controls almost like 60-70% of the global market, start giving certain warranty guarantees and endorsing technology, it becomes slightly easy, because in India it's always till March. It was a more of a hybrid sort of a thing. There was a modules coming from China, those were getting funded, and there was the modules which is getting manufactured in India. So we have almost this full 400-500 megawatt is Indian make only. So but you would say that we will get the same terms which we get for the Chinese? No. There is still a gap between what the banks offer terms for modules, which is when names has been heard much more in industry from China than what we are doing today. Simply the degradation example, they are more comfortable in taking name which controls the bigger share of the market than an Indian supplier. But I feel that probably will keep on as the more and more production will come, more and more project will go, that the gap may narrow down or may bridge to come to zero. And considering this entry barrier of ALM, I think the bank has some sense that we have to try and fund these projects. It's not like there was a huge reservation from banker side. There was a concerns which could be addressed at today and which cannot be, like the data is not available. Warranty guarantees and the international insurances are available. So that gives some comfort to banks that the insurances are available to Indian manufacturers. So I would say the Indian banking will come to the pace to the Indian manufacturing because of the entry barrier. But yeah, there is a gap between what we get from the big brand name of China and what we get from India for a time being. So there is, but in terms of we or the industry going on the TOPCon, probably that all derives from the bidding strategies and prospect of the company. For us, we started 2.5 years back. We have a capacity of like 1.5 gigawatt to 2 gigawatt to do over a couple of years. Initial 100-200 megawatt was with a strategy on PERC. But then we shifted, considering the tariff was getting too tighter and tighter for us to also win the bid. So market has to align for the tariff. So we have to take account for that higher energy, lower BUS cost and all to get to the more competitive in terms of the tariff to win the bids. So I would say that's a bidding tariff and all also as a big driver of shifting from PERC to TOPCon.
Which is a very, very good feedback that if you're able to bid more competitively, even with the initial higher cost, goes on to show that the reliability performances and the belief behind it is very, very strong. So Helge, you will be seeing quite a lot of demand for manufacturing equipments also that you supply. From a demand perspective globally for the technology, I'm pretty sure you do variety of technologies, not just the top one. How do you view the demand globally and in India as a reflection of which technology is advancing on these perspectives?
Up to the year 2022, most of our demand was still PERC. But that has switched in the past 2 years with interest in TOPCon increasing ever, day by day, week by week. I would say in the last 2 quarters, most of the interest that has come from India goes towards TOPCon. There are still a few expansions in PERC, but most interest by far is for TOPCon. So we believe that future installations will be, for the most part, TOPCon. Some small PERC expansions, but mostly TOPCon.
Thanks a lot for that. We have just about 7 minutes and also a couple of questions. So I will do a quick rapid fire questions to a couple of people only on a few topics that are still on my list and I haven't been able to get to it. So I'll start with the rapid firing rounds. Essentially, first question comes to Suhas straight away. What are the gaps in the value chain, Suhas, from an Indian perspective? From wafers, cells, modules in the TOPCon technology, how much are we dependent on import at which point in the value chain?
Right now, I'd say, Santosh, that we're still dependent on cells and the backward part of it from wafers and polysilicon. But it is also something that we are seeing with manufacturing going up, like likes of MV who's putting up cell capacity. I think what the industry will start seeing is more in terms of gap in wafers and in polysilicon, which I guess, many of us, I think all of us agree here, we are probably lagging behind in the scale part of it. But I believe in the sustainability part of it and on the growth part of it. We are getting there to be self-reliant and sustaining, especially with the current barriers and the current macro tailwinds that exist for us to be at able to add up more capacities.
Thanks for that. Dave, I hope your audio is back now. So another question to you is, what are the steps that an EPC and an O&M contractor needs to take, especially for TOPCon? Is there anything different they need to do compared to the designs they have been doing in the past, or is it the same?
I think there is a not really typical like the way the EPC and the developer used to do the technical contract, also important to verify the quality and one of the main thing is that they really need to understand which kind of bill of materials they will be using and how the quality can be controlled and the quality criteria. I think that's the main thing, and couple of reliability tests. And they really need to be more focused into the field during installations, because it's a 2 mm by 2 mm glass. And one thing I forget to mention about the bifaciality of this module. These are the highest at this moment, the highest bifacial. And but the bifacial, the rear side has not really been bent. Like, it's not the same way with the front side, the categorized like the same kind of current. So one really need to understand, or maybe do some kind of analysis if they can get the complete benefit from the bifacial side of view. But otherwise, for the monofac procurement and the top cut procurement from the IPP point of view, or there is a lot of third-party agencies there to do the inspection and technical contract like warranty. One main thing also I forget here, the measurement of the TOPCon modules is not similar than the monopark module. That is one of the things. Sometimes there are several incidents. The module manufacturer may measure wrongly lowest one or maybe the higher one. So there is a possibility of mismatch because of the high efficiency and capacitance effect. This is one really need to keep in mind during the procurement of the modules, maybe can be included into the MDCC step.
Thanks a lot, Dave. There are some questions that are already coming on my phone, so I'll start addressing them as we have very less time. So this question is to Johan. So the question is, what is the difference in reliability between LECO and selective emitter? Some of the Chinese manufacturers claim better reliability in UV-DH and PID with LECO. So a short response. I know it's a long question.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it cannot be answered in one sentence. I mean, in terms of reliability, actually, I'm also, I mean, definitely something not that simple to answer. Maybe on this difference anyhow between selective emitter and LECO. LECO offers in principle much more freedom in order to adjust, let's say, the contact between the metal and the poly layer, and therefore, of course, you have also a bit more process variability options to adjust, let's say, it to a better performance. So that's why LECO is so attractive, and of course many manufacturers are now looking into that direction.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Pankaj, there is another question which I'll direct at you. The question is, among these large NTPC tenders and the SJV and GEL tenders that are coming out, are they still in the PERC technology, or these tenders also moving towards TOPCon? Do they permit various technologies? So that's another question.
So I would say that the walkaway tariff will at least us or the IPPs which are generally remains in L1, L2, L3, the walkaway tariff will be determined by a PERC technology. If the people get on a higher tariff, then it becomes their discretion if they feel that the TOPCon is rightly, we are not ready in terms of, because there are certain issues with the new capacities coming on, the new productions are coming, these are new lines, the stabilization take time, and as the fellow panelists also, there is no set process of measurement till now established. Even in the labs also, there is a certain gray area. So there is a fair bit of a teething problem too for the starters in the TAPCon. So I think that would be probably a more of a company decision, that if the tariffs allows or the budget allows to go to a TOPCon, because from a reliability process view, I don't think so there is too much of a concern among the industry. It is more of a starting issues which we feel that is bit if somebody is holding because of their starting issues.
Thanks. So last 1 minute left, and I have just one more question, which I'll address this time to Helge. So the question is around manufacturing lines and metrology, like RS imaging, PL, and enhanced yield and other things. How is the demand for let's say, imaging tools and metrology tools in manufacturing, especially in the Indian context? Are people willing to buy these?
Yes, I believe the need for a thorough characterization and imaging tools in these lines is just as important, if not even more important than PERC line. The device in itself is a bit more sensitive to defects at the surfaces. So having good quality or excellent quality control is really critical in order to achieve good line performance.
Thanks a lot. Amit, we are just out of time. So thanks a lot to all my panelists for this excellent session. And I am enlightened. I've learned a lot more than I did 45 minutes ago on the technology. And I'm very sure a lot in the audience would also have learned more. So Amit, over to you back.
Thank you so much. In fact, this is one topic, which you can go for hours and hours together. Wish we had more time with us. But I would like to thank Mr. 𝗠𝗶H𝗀𝗫𝗧𝗢𝗪 for moderating the session. Excellent session, sir. Excellent moderating. Thank you so much for your time. I also thank our panelists, Dr. 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗪, Dr. Jochen Wrench, Mr. Pankaj Tyagi, Dr. 𝗫𝗫𝗍𝗪𝗧𝗢𝗪 Sarangi, and Mr. Suhas Donti to be being part of this panel. And thank you so much for enriching us. A big thanks to our audience who've been patient enough and have been sharing questions. For more information, in case the audience would require more information, they can keep on posting their questions, and we can always share with MV and our panelists. I also thank MV Group for powering this webinar and sharing the TOPCon technology. We look forward to meeting you again with our next webinar soon and in person at RenewX on 26th and 27th of April in Hyderabad. Thank you so much. This is your host, Amit, signing off. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.